See, when I first started on my home lab journey, I thought I needed the biggest server, the most CPU cores, the most RAM, the most hard drive, just the biggest case. But the thing is, just last week I sold my AMD 1950X Threadripper CPU, and that had 64 gigs of RAM, 16 cores, 32 threads, and honestly all the specs that you would ever want. Now, whilst the specs were fine, trying to keep the thing cool and quiet was a nightmare, and the thing is, this room was absolutely baking. But in a twist of fate, a company reached out to me and asked if I wanted to take a look at their little mini PC, and it's the Ace Magician AM6 Pro. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit skeptical when companies like this reach out to me, because the thing is, most of the time these PCs tend to be kind of white label PCs where they just get a generic PC and then rebrand it to make it their own, and a lot of them tend to be the same. They have the same CPU, they have the same amount of ports, and they almost look identical with a few different stickers. But I was emailing back and forth with one of the reps, and to be honest with you, I got really excited when he showed me what they wanted to send me. And I've now been testing it for the best part of 2 weeks, and honestly, I'm really glad I sold my AMD Threadripper. It's been so much fun and such an enjoyable journey playing around with this little thing. See, as I mentioned earlier, I always thought you need more, you need better, you need bigger. I would go through the usual cycle of watching YouTube, trying to find a needle in a haystack PC, then go ahead, buy it. 2 weeks later, only to realize that I'm not actually using it, and then sell it and then start all over again. And by the way, if this is an addiction, please let me know if I need to go and see someone. My intention with those server grade PCs was always to run multiple VMs, to have my router go through it, to have Windows running with GPU pass through and all the kind of fancy stuff you see on YouTube. But in reality, it's sat there underutilized most of the time. It will just sit there, make a noise, heat up the room, and never really get used the way it's intended to. And as I said, it's a bit serendipitous that this company reached out, because I've genuinely really enjoyed using it. It's got 8 cores, 16 threads, and it's a 5825U CPU. It's got 2 RAM slots. It came pre-populated with a 16 gig stick, but I whacked in another 16 gig stick to have 32 gig. And they also shipped it with a 512 gig NVMe, but I've upgraded it to 1 terabyte. Now, speaking of upgrades, the other thing you can do with it is you can also add a 2.5-inch SATA SSD. That upgrade has to be done via this finicky ribbon cable. Now, you need to be really careful with this ribbon cable that connects the SSD, because the SSD is actually sitting in the base of the unit, the bit that comes apart. So if you forget that you've got it set up like that, you might actually rip that ribbon cable. Now, taking a look around the device, it's got the pretty standard ports. We've got a couple of USBs at the front, we've got a USB-C at the front as well, and then more USBs on the back. And what is this? Is this the long-awaited USB-C power port? Because to be honest with you, I was expecting a barrel jack just like any other PC, but for some reason they shipped it with a USB-C port, and I absolutely love this, because technically you could run this off one of those USB-C monitors that does power delivery. It needs 65 watts because that's how big the brick was, but I absolutely love that it has a USB-C port. Now, the other cool features on it are the Ethernet ports. It comes with 2. It has a Realtek gigabit NIC as well as an Intel 2.5 gig 226V port. And I absolutely love that it comes with those, because that means you can now technically run it as a router. And this is exactly what I'm intending on doing with this once this video goes live. Now, just to show you the efficiency gains that have happened over the last few years, my AMD Threadripper that I've just sold had a TDP of 180 watts. It was a 16 core 32 thread CPU, so it was a powerhouse. This thing, on the other hand, sips power at 15 watts, so more than 10 times as efficient. And the thing is, in terms of performance, it's only a third behind. I ran multiple VMs on this. I ran a Windows VM, I ran an Ubuntu VM, I also tested TRUENAS on it, and it absolutely worked flawlessly. And I've even experimented around with OpenSense on it because of the 2 NICs that I've just mentioned, and it worked again absolutely perfectly. And the thing is, I actually did it in TRUENAS, so stay tuned for that upcoming video. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows with this. I had a few problems initially because it came pre-installed with Windows on the 512 gig NVMe, but I'd actually upgraded to the 1 terabyte one. And the thing is, trying to reinstall Windows was an absolute nightmare. Now, here's one of the few things that's maybe not so good with this, and I don't know why, but I've seen a few forum posts about this where installing Windows is a little bit tricky, because I'm just in the Windows 11 setup here, and it says error scanning for drivers. It cannot find my drives. So essentially it doesn't have the hardware to install it on. Yet when I go across to the command prompt and I actually open disk part, you can see here both drives are showing up. Whereas on here, install driver to show hardware. What hardware in the first place? And I've also got the driver disk installed and it just will not load anything. So I don't know if I have to restart or do whatever, because every now and again it works. Every time I'd plug in the USB stick, it wouldn't detect the drives, it just wouldn't load Windows and I just couldn't do anything. And I then spent a whole day trying to see if there's a solution somewhere on the internet. And I eventually came across a forum post by Gary777 who said you need to upgrade to the latest BIOS, and then it gives you the instructions on how to do that. What a difference it's made. It's allowed me to install Windows without any problems whatsoever. Now, speaking of Windows, during my testing, what I was trying to do is install Hyper-V and Windows Subsystem for Linux. And the thing is, this thing just kept crashing over and over and over. Every time I rebooted the PC, it would just hang and then it would undo all the changes, boot into Windows absolutely fine. Initially, I thought it was Windows updates, but turns out it was the BIOS. Once I upgraded the BIOS, just like before, it worked absolutely fine. Windows Subsystem for Linux worked, Hyper-V worked absolutely fine, and I was able to test a few more VMs. Now, the third and final bit that I had problems with was the HDMI port. For some reason, I'm only getting a 4K 30Hz output. I have no idea why. The display port works absolutely fine, but on the HDMI port, I can only get 4K 30Hz. I don't know why. The CPU is more than powerful enough to handle that. And so is the GPU actually, because it's a Radeon Vega 8. So I don't know if this is just a BIOS problem or a hardware limitation, but hopefully with a future BIOS update, this will get fixed. Now, overall, I absolutely love this thing. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, they've sent it to you. You're going to say nice things. But to be honest with you, I've genuinely been impressed with it. They have no say in my review and what I publish and what I talk about, but I have been in contact with them just to give them a feedback on some of the problems I've experienced. So if I hear back from them, I will add it now. If not, I'll leave it in the comments below. Now, anyone looking to dabble in the home lab space, I think this is the perfect PC for you. It's got all the cores that you need. It's got all the expandability that you need, and I highly recommend you check it out. I will have it linked in the description. Obviously, you won't be creating a NAS out of this, but maybe in the future we can see one which has 4 NVMe slots and a slightly better CPU to enable us to take advantage of all that power that we have in this little mini PC, because flash storage is becoming so cheap these days, and this would be an incredible sleeper NAS build. But let me know what you think of this little mini PC. Do you like it? Do you like the impressions? And also let me know if there's anything else you want me to test with it, because in the future I'll be doing a video on running VMs on TRUENAS, and I was thinking of using this. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and also check out all the links down in the description, and I'll catch you in the next one.